The Shining is a "Here's Johnny" horror movie. The movie starts with this guy, he's an out of work teacher, or he used to be a teacher, and he gets an offer to basically look after this hotel while it's wintertime. And basically, they can't keep this ski resort up, and so it's not financially realistic to keep this hotel up because just the path to get to this hotel gets about like 20 feet of snow, and it's just not financially feasible to do anything about that. So they need people to stay in it every year. Well, before Jack ends up accepting the job, they tell him, look, back in the day, there was this dude who basically took an axe, killed his wife, killed his two twin daughters, chopped everybody up into little pieces, and then blew his own brains out with a shotgun. And Jack's like, screw it, let's do this. But it's not just Jack that has to stay there, he has to stay there with his son and wife. So they have 5 months, just these 3 people in this hotel, and you can kind of get bored, or they warn of cabin fever, but that's the least of their worries. And not even a month and a half in, Jack is already basically losing his mind and being influenced by the dark spirits that haunt this hotel. And the guy who cut his little family up is basically telling Jack to do the same to his family, and he basically loses it and goes on a rampage trying to kill his family. It didn't take long for him to lose his mind. And what's even crazier was the whole time he was in this hotel, he just had his wife do everything. His wife was cooking, his wife was cleaning, his wife was looking after the kid, his wife was making sure the hotel was running. All Jack was doing was just trying to write this paper, and just what a loser, right? But nonetheless, and all the while this is happening, there's just things going on with the little boy, which I'll talk more about in my review, as he is basically connected. Well, just this whole movie is connected to the Dark Tower series, which I always like to talk about. So, my review for The Shining, and there'll be mild spoilers. So actually, this is just directly connected to the Dark Tower series, written by Stephen King, his novels. Basically, The Shining is the gift that people have that allow them to just do special things. Like, it could be different between each person, but mostly it seems to be like some kind of gift to see the future, or just some kind of telepath ability, just something along those lines. And that's what the boy has. And from just like a production standpoint, this movie is very, very top tier, as just some of the camera angles, especially for like the 80s, were just insanely good. Like when they're following the little boy on his little tricycle toy, and just when they're following people running, it's just extremely good. Now, what makes this movie the classic that it is easily the acting. Basically, Jack Nicholson performed one of the best acting jobs in a horror movie that I've seen, as he brings the character of Jack to life, and you slowly see the descent into madness, and by the end of the movie, you get the feeling that this person is literally a straight-on certified psychopath. And besides that, he brings to life one of the most iconic scenes and lines in horror history, when he chops down the bathroom door, sticks his head through, and says, "Here's Johnny," as shown on the cover of this DVD, because that is just super iconic. And just not Jack Nicholson, but his son and wife did a really good job acting. But the one thing I have to say is when the wife was running away in the end of the movie, it super reminded me of like the Scary Movie parodies, as just her running was just straight up hilarious. But nonetheless, on top of all that, we did get the twins in this movie, just those creepy little girls, and we got the meme of Jack being frozen in the very end. Just basically, this movie solidified itself into pop culture. So, my recommendation for The Shining, and obviously this is just a must-see, as this is easily one of the most Easter egged and referenced horror movies in just pop culture, from just kid shows to just other movies, and it has so many iconic lines and things in it. Just very, very good movie, and on top of that, it is creepy as hell, and it's one of Stephen King's best wrote stories, even though this movie is a little different than his story. Just very good, and how it intertwines into the Dark Tower series, masterful. I just highly recommend it, as you get to witness Jack Nicholson's greatest performance, almost.